This video will be going over some bosses in the dungeon Assault on Violet Hold on the Mythic difficulty, assuming you've already done the dungeon on Heroic and knowing how the dungeon works. The first boss we encountered in this run-through was Maleficent Manastorm, also known as Malhas Manastorm's wife. She has two stages, and during both stages she will constantly cast Delta Finger Laser Extreme, which deals moderate damage and leaves a mild dot. During this stage, she would throw out Elementium Squirrel Bombs. Players should disarm these bombs right away to prevent explosion. Once disarmed or explosion happens, 3 smaller squirrel bombs will come out and target random players, dealing fire damage to all players within 15 yards. Also in this stage, Maleficent sends out Thorium Rocket Chicken. DPS should kill this chicken quickly to avoid damage from the rockets. At 45%, which is also the same time Millhouse makes fun of her for her hair, she gains Maleficent's Rage, which empowers her gadgets. Now you have overloaded Elementium Squirrel Bombs. These bombs will eject the smaller squirrel bombs more frequently, which means more damage, so disarm these ASAP. Now you have Reinforced Thorium Rocket Chickens. These are indestructible, so don't waste time like my group did trying to kill them. Simply dodge the rockets. Players should lust or time warp and use personal CDs during this phase to kill her. Although at 10%, she will stun the entire party and escape Dalaran, leaving behind your sweet, sweet loot. Shivermaw has 2 phases, a ground phase and an air phase. After 40 seconds into the fight and every minute after, she will enter the air phase. Make sure your whole party is standing on the ground during ground phase. During this phase, she has 4 abilities. Wing Buffet and Frost Breath are both front-facing abilities. Don't be around the boss. If you are the tank, use Active Mitigation during Frost Breath to reduce damage. It will also debuff you. The other abilities during this phase are Tail Sweep, which deals damage to players in a cone behind her and knocks them back. Relentless Storm will summon bolts of ice that fall from the sky, dealing damage to players. Don't stand in the circles on the ground. Right before air phase, the entire group will be debuffed with Frigid Winds. Just spread out 8 yards to avoid any damage. When Shivermaw goes to the center of the room, air phase begins. She becomes unattackable, but dots do persist. She casts Ice Bomb, a large sphere of ice that slowly falls to the ground. When it hits, it deals heavy damage to all players and will freeze any player not on the upper level. While on the upper level, Frostbite will do damage to players, but just keep in mind you need to stay 8 yards away from each other to avoid Frigid Winds. If a player gets frozen, break that player out ASAP. From here on out, the fight's just a rinse and repeat until the boss dies. Lord Malgath is relatively easy. He will summon Shadow Beasts. Tanks, your job is to pick these up. DPS, AoE them down quickly. When they die, they leave behind sleeping shadows. There are pools on the ground. Just move away from it. Face him away from the party to avoid spreading the Fell Slash. Also, he casts Shadow Bolt Volley, which can be avoided if you interrupt it. It deals moderate party damage. Another thing he has is Shadow Bomb. It lasts 8 seconds. When it expires, it deals Shadow Explosion damage to the affected player and all other players within 6 yards. Also, if any other players take the Shadow Explosion damage, they too will gain a new Shadow Bomb. So, when Shadow Bomb goes out, just move away from the group before it expires. Pretty easy fight. Solorn, or Spider Lady, is the last boss in this dungeon. She has a couple of abilities which I will go over now. The main ability is Phase Spiders. Every 10 to 15 seconds she summons Phase Spiders, which are untargetable and unkillable spiders. They will pick a random player, fixate on them, and cast Creeping Slaughter. To avoid the Creeping Slaughter, simply look at the spider until the channel ends. The spider will then select a new target. She also does Web Grab, which pulls all players to her location and deals minor damage. After Web Grab about 10 seconds, she will cast Fell Detonation, which deals moderate damage to all players within 15 yards. It is best if you are range or healer to run out after Web Grab. She also does Venom Spray, which is at the tank and is a debuff. Basically, tank her facing away from the group. Another thing she does is Toxic Blood, which is a dot she puts on a random player. It will splash damage to other players, so it's best to just move out. This dot lasts 9 seconds. Remember, the tank can be selected for Toxic Blood. I hope you enjoyed my first Mythic guide for World of Warcraft Legion. Please leave a comment down below, help me improve, and I'll see you guys in the next one.